What's up, everybody? D4 is back again. Server 428 Battle of Vig. So we got another video with you today. Before I begin, real quick, I just want to say thank you for all the support. Had a lot of people reach out. So it's great that some of you enjoyed it, learned from it. It validates, putting the effort into kind of doing these things. I love the fact that people are trying to get better and they're trying to, find this knowledge. And so to help in any regard, even if it's small, is great, or even just to bring some level of enjoyment. So that's awesome. It's All-Stars week this week. I just want to give a quick shout out, everyone that qualified. Congratulations, best of luck, especially on our team. We kind of had record qualifications here. We moved 10 into majors and 3 into the elite league. So, just a special congrats and good luck to Viper, Boss, Doi Fong, Hawk, Mountain, Josh, Emmy, Hump, Sped Black, and last one's me, that qualified for majors, and then into the elite league, Dotino, Fatty, and Dex. So super proud of our group here. Hope everybody does great, moves through, gets some new dragons and castles. All right, so we're gonna jump into it today. If I did a general video, it might take an hour, and I don't think that I can get through a video in an hour without screwing up. So we're gonna parse these out. We'll do duty generals and sub generals today, and then we'll do really the main generals: attacking, defending, pairs, assistance, all that in another video, and we'll release that soon. So we're gonna jump right into duty generals. What you'll notice here is there's 3 sections: military, defense, and interior. Military encompasses your 4 troop building spots and the rally spot. So the benefit you're gaining in the troop building spots is just training speed and capacity. What you're getting out of the rally spot is march size capacity, which is huge in battle. So there's a battle benefit there. If we go into defense, you'll notice Archer Tower is buffing Archer Tower attack, which is an extra troop layer when defending, so that's important. Depending on your server type, if you're a NAP server, Bob server, some of these might matter more than others. We're a NAP server. So hospital capacity isn't that big a deal to me, but healing speed is. If you look at Trap Factory, traps building speed, damage siege machine capacity, warehouses, resources protected and food protected from troop upkeep. And then embassy is also big. It's a military benefit there. It's reinforcing troop attack, defense, and HP. Your holy capacity is basically the amount of deserters that you can hold. This would be a big one for a Bob server. Again, for NAP, it's not that much for me. And then the bunker, I think, is useless, unless you're an annoying, alt in SVS, and you just bury your troops in there and try and make life miserable for the other server. We move on to interior. Keep is going to benefit construction speed and training capacity. The academy is going to do research speed, which is great. Market, resource tax amount, not that important. Forge, crafting speed. Again, I just have someone in there. I move one of my main generals in if I need to craft something. Research factory, not that important. And then military academy, research speed is very important. Okay, so now we're going to talk about how do you get these people on duty and how do you get them correct. If we look at Archer Camp and we look at it, for super camp officer, you need two stats cultivated to a certain level, and you need a certain power number. So for the Archer Camp officer, that's attack and leadership. What you'll see is, my John of Portugal's at super camp officer level. If we change it over to solo, which if you watch my last video, I do in wartime, and I'll explain that in a little bit, you'll notice it goes down to medium Archer camp officer. And a lot of those benefits reduce, so I'm not going to be able to make as many troops. So I'm going to change it back to John of Portugal, and what we notice, what happened? You know, he's only at senior camp officer level. Well, now he doesn't meet the power requirement. So if we go in and we take a look at him, naked, he's at 1.4. So I've already pre-pulled some gear off of a Monster General. I'm just going to add this real quick. We're going to go back, and we're going to switch him back in. And what you'll notice now is he's a Super Archer Camp Officer. Now I can pull that gear off now, and he'll stay that way until I pull him like I did, and then I'll have to do that process again, right? So it's a little bit annoying, but you can borrow gear. You don't have to have like specific gear on your duty officers. All right. And so that's mainly the benefit. You know, the duty, you know, spots that are most important to you, you need to make sure that you have super, you know, duty officers in those spots. And we talk about, you know, the way Evony has done this is they've made, you know, generals specific to a lot of these, you know, certain areas within your, you know, these duty spots. So we're going to go into generals, and we're going to kind of go over some of those real quick. So in the Archer camp, right now there are 2 generals that fit. John of Portugal. So we're going to look at him, and he increases range troop attack, defense, and HP by 5%, and range troop training speed by 20%. So he is designed, his only benefit is if he is on duty in Archer camp, right? So he's going to give your range troops a little bit of a boost there. Again, it's much better to have John of Portugal in the Archer camp than it is to have, you know, Simeon, Elise, anyone else. Now, if you have super level and you don't have this person, you have another person in there for super level, you're going to get that, you know, troop training speed and capacity benefit, but you're not going to get this additional speed benefit, and you're certainly not going to get the range troop attack, defense, and HP benefit. And so now we're going to go down to Sulla. Sulla is a newly released general, and you can see here he increases range troops attack by 15% and range troops defense and HP by 10%. So he is 10% better in attack than John of Portugal, and he is 5% better in HP and defense than John of Portugal. But he doesn't have the speed bonus there. So again, when we went through the pre-military setup, you'll notice that I change in, you know, Sulla when I'm in battle, and I switch back to John of Portugal when I'm not in battle. And I think ultimately, you know, I would love to get copies of this guy, because once you start to star them, right? Look at this. When generals, the Archer camp officer, in city troops defense 15%, and in HP 15%. When general is Archer camp officer, in city troops defense 25%, and then training capacity goes up. So, you know, when he is ascended, he becomes even more powerful. And even, you know, you look at John of Portugal, when he's ascended, in-city range troop and siege machine defense 10% and HP 15%. So he's not giving as great a benefit, but he is giving benefit. So you start to have to, we talked about this before, you start to have to weigh out like what's feasible. So is it feasible that I'm going to get copies of Sulla to raise them? You know, I mean, I think I got Sulla caking one event. I don't cake all the time. So, you know, what's the likelihood that I'm going to get copies of him so that I can ascend him, because he becomes really good and I want to start ascending him. You know, I believe I do have copies of, of John of Portugal. So I could ascend him right now and get that benefit, but do I want to waste those materials? So that's kind of the battle that I've been dealing with right now is I've kind of waited on some of these guys. But I'm telling you this right now, if you want defensive buffs, you need to start ascending these duty generals, right? In-city troop defense 15%. In-city ground troop, mounted troop defense 10%, HP 10%. So you see all these buffs starting to add up if you start ascending these people. So I think, you know, the people that have focused on that have gotten much stronger defensively. And I think that's important. I think what you have to do, though, is you have to be realistic. You can get a lot of the originals on, you know, for these duty officers in the tavern, right? They're a lot more readily available now. They're going to be a lot more easily ascendable. So you just got to weigh that out. I battled with a couple of the new guys, which I'm going to show you here in a second. But for the most part, you know, I think if you think you can get copies of the new people eventually down the road, maybe you wait and invest in them at that time. But you're going to be weaker in the interim. If you feel like you know, you're probably not going to get those for a long time, or you don't have copies of them, you know, start investing in these original guys. You know, the buffs are still very, very good there. All right, so we've gone over Archer Camp. If we look at Barracks, so in Barracks, this Rahman is your guy. I don't think they've released a better Barracks officer. I could be wrong there, so if I am, don't kill me. We go into Workshop, and there's two. Raul is kind of the easily available one right now, and then we talk about this new guy Kutuzov, who's an upgrade there. And then Stables, it was Oleg of Novgorod, or however you pronounce it. And then the new guy that they released was Stilicho. Rally Spot, Hideyoshi, who's right here. And the new guy that they have released is this guy, Zhang Liang. Moving over to the defense. In the Archer Tower, you've got Maurice of Nassau, who's right there. And then the original guy who's kind of a little bit easier to get and to send is Ban Chao. You know, if you have any of these guys and you can put in there and they're not in there right now, you're going to gain benefit. In the hospital, I believe Skanderberg's the only one. We look at Trap building. Aski Muhammad is kind of the original guy, and then they've released this new guy, Otto the Great. Warehouse, Embassy, Holy Palace, and Bunker. I don't believe there's any specific generals, although knowing Evony, buckle up, they're coming. And then we go into the interior when we talk about Keep. This Zhu Liang and Menshikov kind of are the same general. They don't have any battle buffs in their legendary. Ashoka does, so Ashoka is a little better option there in battle. In the academy, you've got Mundiuk and Hammurabi, and Market Forge Research Factory and Military Academy. I don't believe there are anyone specific to those. I tried to put who is it? Hammurabi in the Military Academy. So it didn't work, right? I didn't get those buffs. So he is strictly for the academy, just like Bundiuk is. And again, if we talk about, all you have to do is you have to cultivate. So we're going to cultivate, and then whatever the main stats that they need. I haven't raised Sulla because I don't need the Super Duty benefits like John of Portugal does for him, because he's only on there during battle time. But when you cultivate, I believe it was leadership and attack. I mean, I could be wrong there, but basically you're just going to click those two stats and then cultivate, and you're going to try and raise those two stat lines high enough so that you get to that, whatever, 1400 was that the number that we needed, if you wanted to put them on duty, right? So that's all you're doing in order to cultivate them, to get them high enough. Again, I think level 38, 39, 40, somewhere in that range, they're going to get high enough to show benefit. There's a couple different ways that you can raise your general's level. One is here, with these books, you can raise their EXP, but it's going to take super long. The other is, put them on one of your subs in battle, and they're going to gain that EXP from battle pretty quickly. Or if you're able to, in any part of NAP, you can go train on a sub, right? So just use layered siege only on a sub. I think legendaries, the red ones, give like 10 million EXP per hit. The golds are 3 million, something like that. I haven't done it in a while, but you can just train your generals there and raise them up pretty quickly. It's a neat little trick. All right, now we're going to sub-city generals. So we'll go over to subs. Again, I think this is really, what do you want to debuff? There's a lot of different sub generals that debuff a lot of different things. I think the important thing is that your sub-generals all need AC gear, right? AC amenity gear. And the reason being is when we open it up, you look at that 6 out of 6, enemy troop attack 15%. This is one of my favorite generals, Mark Anthony. He debuffs range troop attack, ground and mounted troop HP. I really want to debuff range troop attack, right? I really want to, for my keep in my setup, I really want to max debuff range troop attack and siege machine HP, because those are the two things that I'm probably going to get attacked with early on. Most of this gear has siege attack debuffs in it, so if you're halfway decent, you shouldn't be maxing out your siege attack debuff. But when it comes to range attack, I think you want to get that as high as possible. You know, mounted troop HP, siege machine HP, that's important. A lot of people, you know, having ground troop attack debuff because it's not readily available is important. You know, I think for smaller players or players that might be soloed, you know, focusing on that. So having a general like, you know, this dude who debuffs, you know, ground troop attack would be really good. But again, for my setup and build, you know, I'm trying to maximize, you know, my range troop attack debuff. So guys like, you know, MBK, Mark Anthony, Canute, Baldwin are really good because they have high range attack debuffs. And then if we look at here, you know, this is really the main piece, the courageous AC ring that has that enemy range attack debuff, right? So that's an important piece too. People complain about it. Do Vikings, grind out Vikings, get materials, get gold, build gear for your subgens, get your debuffs up. You'll be way stronger, okay? And then we'll talk about, you know, their main kind of stats here. Ascending these generals is another huge piece, right? Everyone that is ascending, they're so focused on their PvP generals, and they're not focused on their duty generals and on their sub generals. And there's a ton of debuffs in here. So, you know, we look at MBK, I think is great. We look at Mark Anthony, it's great. So we're trying to get as many copies of these guys. I'm trying to raise them as much as I can. I'm trying to get those, you know, as high as possible so that those debuffs, you know, stack up. And right now, I think I'm maxed in some pretty key areas, so I'm focused a lot on HP. If you're looking at like free generals, or not free generals, but generals that you can get more readily available from the tavern, I think this dude, Andrew Jackson, is one of the best. You see a ranged attack debuff there. You can get him from the tavern. He's great. You know, Arminius isn't bad. He's got much smaller numbers, but he's available and kind of does the right things. Nero, I think, is great because the HP is a little bit more difficult to debuff. But in any regard, you know, those are your subgens. You know, if you have any questions on them, you know, just click on it and see reduces. That's what you want. But you want to reduce the right things and not the wrong things. So, you know, ask some players within your alliance, look at battle reports. What attacks you most often? What are you attacking most often? Look at your debuffs, see where you're weak, try and raise them. But, you know, obviously try and get as many subs as you can. You know, try and put as many good sub generals in there as possible. Gear them up as much as possible, ascend them as much as possible. And lastly, when it comes to skill books, you know, we'll look at skill books here. I think the 3 best: training capacity, training speed, and rebirth, right? Your sub troops die when they're in battle. So rebirth is going to help, you know, keep some troops alive, which is important. And then this helps, you know, really build them back up quicker. Right. So I don't care about construction speed. You know, if you go over here, if we go to cultivate and we look at it, like if you're cultivating these, leadership and politics is the most important thing you have to do for a sub-city general, because you look at it, sub-city training speed, boom. Sub-city construction speed, boom. Those are in politics and leadership. So that's where you need to be investing. You don't need to be cultivating the other stats for these guys. I want to max out those 2 stats. It'll save you some gems. And then we talk about if you have the runes to do it, for a lot of these sub generals, the second stat you'll see here, enemy troop attack, snipe, right? So I finished that to try and get that. For Amir, you'll see that troop HP. So a lot of the second stats I've done on these guys to increase those debuffs. So ran a little longer than I wanted to today. Imagine if I was doing main generals too. We'll do that sometime next week. Again, best of luck to everyone in All-Stars. Hope you enjoyed. Have a great day. Bye.